Good morning all. We continue our studies, the book of Job, chapters 15 to 19, which I've given an added title of And Love for God. Chapter 15 deals with Eliphaz, one of Job's accusers and friends, accuses Job, and Job does not fear of Job not fearing God. Reading from chapter 15 verse 1, just a few verses of each chapter I'll be reading. Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite and said, Should a wise man utter vain knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk, or with speeches wherewith he can do no good? Yea, thou castest off fear and restrainest prayer before God. For thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thy own lips testify against thee. And he goes on, chapter 16, Job replies, Miserable comforters are you. Verse 1. Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things, miserable comforters are you all. Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeneth thee that thou answerest? I also can speak as you do. If your soul were in my soul's stead, I could heap up words against you, and shake my head at you. But I will strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips should assuage your grief. I'll leave you to read the end. People commonly say we are not to judge each other. That is wrong. The Bible constantly tells us to rebuke evildoers, correct them, etc. There's a big difference between correction and salvation judgment, which is reserved for God. What we are to do is judge righteously, as it says in John 7 verse 24, which I'll read at the end. Job's friends were not doing that, but judging by appearance. They understandably assumed only sin breeds punishment. Yet God's prophets and apostles were killed, and we are warned of possible trials, afflictions, and tribulations to come by persecutors. Revelation 6:10. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? Matthew 24:13. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Mark 13:13. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. James 5:11. Behold, we count them happy which endure. You have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and tender mercy. 1 Timothy chapters 5 verse 20. Then them that sin rebuke before all, that others also may fear. 2 Timothy 4 verse 2. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. Titus 1:13. This weakness is true, wherefore rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in the faith. James 5:20. Let him know that he which converteth the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death, and shall hide a multitude of sins. And lastly, John 7:24 I mentioned, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Moving on to a couple of verses of chapter 17, Job continues, Where then is my hope? Reading from verse 1. My breath is corrupt, my days are extinct, the graves are ready for me. Are there not mockers with me? And doth mine eye continue in their provocation? Lay down now, put me in a surety with thee. Who is he that will strike hands with me? For thou hast hid their heart from understanding, therefore shalt thou not exalt them. A couple of verses of chapter 18, Bildad speaks, God punishes the wicked. Reading from verse 1. Then answered Bildad the Shuhite and said, How long will it be you make an end of words? Mark, and afterwards we will speak. Wherefore are we counted as beasts, and reputed vile in your sight? He teareth himself in his anger. Shall the earth be forsaken for thee? And shall the rock be removed out of his place? Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. Again, here we have Bildad accusing Job. The light of the wicked may be put out, but Matthew 13:43 says, Then shall the righteous shine forth as a sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. Moving on to a couple of verses of chapter 19, Job replies, My Redeemer lives. Reading from verse 1. Then Job answered and said, How long will you vex my soul and break me in pieces with words? These 10 times have you reproached me. You are not ashamed that you make yourselves strange to me. And be it indeed that I have erred, mine error remaineth with myself. If indeed you will magnify yourselves against me, and plead against me my reproach. Know now that God hath overthrown me, and he hath compassed me with his net. Behold, I cry out of wrong, but I am not heard. I cry aloud, but there is no judgment. He hath fenced up my way that I cannot pass, and he hath set darkness in my paths. He hath stripped me of my glory, and taken the crown from my head. Jump into verse 20. My bone cleaveth to my skin, and to my flesh, and I am escaped with the skin of my teeth. Have pity upon me, O you my friends, for the hand of God hath touched me. Verse 25. For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another, though my reins be consumed within me. What we have, on one hand, Job thinks God has removed his favour from him, yet he is confident of being justified and seeing God in the end. Paul had a similar confidence. 2 Timothy chapters 4 verse 7. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which Yahweh, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all of them also that love his appearing. James 1:12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which Yahweh hath promised to them that love him. So what is it to love him? John chapters 14 verse 15. If you love me, keep my commandments. John 14:21. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. John 15:10. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. 1 John chapter 5 verse 2. By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. And this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is a commandment that, as you have heard from the beginning, you should walk in it. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 4. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. Revelations 2 verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. But thou faithful, have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Revelations 3:11. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Job and Paul's confidence was founded on the knowledge they had kept all of God's instructions or his law. Can those who do not keep all the law rightly have the same confidence, or are they deceived? Shalom until tomorrow, God willing.